This is Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing. You are watching Sporting Icons. You don't need to be anywhere else.
So if you'll cast your minds back to about 4 months ago, I think it was the beginning or middle of July, if I remember rightly, Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou was announced to be taking place in Saudi Arabia, and they had the tag game changed. Now, leading up to that point, Frank Warren was talking about a big announcement for Tyson Fury, game changed or game changer, whatever words it was, and all that kind of good stuff. And of course, a lot of us were thinking, well, Fury versus Ngannou, how on earth is that game changed? That's not game change. We've seen this crossover situation before. It's a piss poor fight. It's Tyson Fury, the WBC World Heavyweight Champion, taking on somebody who's never had a boxing bout in his life. Right? That's what we're all thinking. But again, it wasn't Frank Warren and Queensberry and whatever else who come up with a game-changed slogan. Tyson Fury came up with that back in February. Of course, he robbed that thing from Eddie Hearn, of course, when Eddie Hearn left Sky for DAZN. But Tyson Fury said that he was teaming up with the Saudis back in February, right in the middle of negotiations with Alexander Usyk. We all know why, right? Because he knew why fight Alexander Usyk, potentially lose, for half the money what I could make for an easy fight against Francis Ngannou during Riyadh season. And if Frank Warren wants to debate me on all that, there's a whole lot of Easter eggs I can open up on him. I'm not Adam Cattrall, okay? That's for sure. But has Frank Warren changed the game? As I said, when all that was first announced with Ngannou, we're going, how is that game changed? We've seen Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor. We've seen Jake Paul doing it fight after fight. How's this game changing? It's not game changing, but it's what doors Frank Warren opened with the help of the Saudis and their finances, of course. That is what's game changed. And you have to say that Frank Warren is sitting at the head table of the promoters right now. Look at, say, December 23rd. You got Joshua versus Wallin, Wilder versus Parker, and of course that card as well. Queensberry, Frank Warren, only has 2 fighters on that card. Dan Dubois, when he's going to be taking on Jarrell Miller. Of course, you've got Zorro as well in that fight, on that card as well. So Frank Warren's got 2. But Eddie Hearn, he's got, 5, I think it is, something like that. Dimitri Salita, he's got a couple in Wallin and Miller and whatever else. Of course, you've got Wasserman on there as well with Herkovich. But Frank Warren is running the show. Why? Because he's got a good relationship with the Saudis. Now, I'll say with the Saudis, with Turki Al-Sheikh, with, I'm going to presume, the Prime Minister of Saudi Arabia, who I believe is the 7th or 8th son of the King, and Prince Mohammed bin Salman. He's pretty much running Riyadh season. And of course, he's given Turki Al-Sheikh the backing, if you like, to put on Riyadh season. And Turki Al-Sheikh is a big boxing fan, right? So he's built a very good relationship with Frank Warren, which is great. And that's what's opened up the door. That's why December 23rd is happening. That's why February the 17th is happening with Fury versus Usyk for Undisputed. So you could say, yes, Frank Warren is changing the game. He's changing the landscape, or at least as far as the heavyweight division is concerned. He is. And it is a shame. Listen, it's good that Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn are sat there at the same press conference and they're putting on a show together and all that kind of stuff. But it is a shame that somebody from outside the UK done that, when it's something that Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren could have done years ago. They could have done this themselves. But yes, money talks, and money will be the biggest motivator behind it all. And I do wonder, though, if Frank Warren had the kind of budget over the last few years that it appears that he has now with the backing of the Saudis, what kind of shows would he have been putting on? Because let's be honest, most Queensberry shows, and I don't want to come across negative here, but most Queensberry shows are piss poor. Let's be honest, they are. There's a few good headliners, but most of the cards were fighters that we really don't care about. But now he has the ability to put on all these shows. And let's not get it twisted, okay? There seems to be a narrative of they're working for the Saudis to put on shows in Saudi Arabia. Now, so far, that seems to be the case, but I know for sure that that is not the plan. Or the only plan, I should say. They do have plans to be putting on shows here in the UK. And I know exactly where, and I know exactly what and who they want to be working with. Not really for me to say, but You know what, I may say it at some point in video. But there are big plans, and Frank Warren is at the head of the table. He is. Frank Warren has now sat on that throne of the top promoter. Of course, working with Eddie Hearn. He has previously worked with Ben Shalom and Boxer, and I'm sure that they'll be brought in a bigger role once their stable is a little bit more established and a few fighters are a bit further along, which of course they will be. And I like Ben Shalom and Boxer and all that, and I believe in them, I do. Big things happening for them in 2024 as well, which will be announced in due course. Now, Frank Warren's done fantastic. It wasn't so long ago. Frank Warren was there on Box Nation, and he was pretty much down and out, wasn't he? Eddie Hearn was doing fantastic stuff on Sky. He was building the roster, and suddenly the British boxing fans were back interested in boxing and all that. They had their stable. They were putting on some great fights. A lot of their fighters were becoming very, very popular. Queensberry, not so much. But now it's all turned around. And the way to do it, and Frank Warren is very, very smart, is the heavyweight division. And he brought in people like Daniel Dubois, Tyson Fury, Joe Joyce, and a couple of others, where he managed to move them into certain positions. And once you do that, you control the division. If you control the heavyweight division, you pretty much control boxing. You do. So, yeah, Frank Warren is changing the game. Would he have done it without Saudis? No, probably not. Okay, probably not. But the fact that he is doing it, because, listen, he's got the ear of Turki Al-Sheikh and the Saudis, as does Spencer Brown of Gold Star and whatever else as well. And listen, we can think and say what we like about all that kind of situation. Is there some murkiness there? Possibly, I don't know. But Frank Warren could have gotten the ear of Turki Al-Sheikh and said, no, we don't really need Eddie Hearn. We don't really need his fighters. We don't really need Ben Shalom. We don't need Wassam and Kenneth Sauerland and Nissa Sauerland. We don't need Dimitri Salici. We don't need Bob Arum. We don't need all these kind of guys. But he didn't. He was like, yeah, let's get everybody together. Let's work together. And it was Frank Warren who brought them in. Okay, at the behest of Turki Al-Sheikh. But Frank Warren, as I said, I'm sure he's got their ear. And he could have done that. He could have been manipulative. He could have been stubborn, as he has been in the past, let's be honest, he has been. But so is Eddie Hearn and so is others. But Eddie Hearn is now pretty much working for Frank Warren. Does he need Frank Warren? No. But if he wants to make the kind of money that he wants to make, he's going to need Frank Warren. And he's going to need to be on Frank Warren's good books. And that's the reality of it. So yes, Frank Warren has changed the game. It wasn't Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou that's the catalyst for it all. Not at all. That's just something that they've done to open up doors for bigger things. 2024, I think it's going to be a huge, huge year. I think what we're seeing so far is just the beginning. Well, it has to be the beginning, isn't it? And it's going to get much, much bigger. Well done, Frank Warren. Drop your thoughts below. Click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you next video.